This is whenever I was in the military, I was deployed to Bosnia. I was part of I4, right there, implementation force. And yeah, I guess, because you had your military ID. And so I guess this was because we weren't just the U.S. Army. We were, it was all these countries that were part of it. And so I guess this was to identify that you were a part of I4, I guess. Yes. So, anyways, I'm Jeremy, and we're going to talk about Ben Shapiro's segment with the woke military, because I actually did a segment on this yesterday a little bit, and so we're going to do a little bit more because this was clown world. Yes, this is ridiculous. And so if you like my videos, thumbs up, subscribe, and become a member Patreon, subscribe star there too to help support me. And so, oh man, Ben Shapiro, man, I like that guy. He's got a lot of, misses a lot. And so I don't care that this didn't come first in his little segment that he does. I'm going to say it anyways. But that fat old bastard who's there at space camp with the kiddies, saying that his little plot, talking about Tucker Carlson and how he's never served in the military. It's like, you haven't either, you fat pile of trash. I don't give it. This is something that just always irritates the hell out of me. That, well, people in the military need to give, that you need to give them recognition. It's like, no, you don't. Absolutely not. Just because that fat pig has got that damn uniform on, it did not transform him and make him into something great. Absolutely not. Same thing with cops. Just because you give them a badge, just because they have a uniform, that doesn't magically transform them into something that they're not. They're still trash. If they were trash before, they were trash after the training. And this bastard, all he's doing, he's a virtue signaler. That's all he's doing. He's saying, "Hey, look at me." And you know why? Because whenever you get to a certain level, you're pushing really hard for promotion points. It's hard to get promoted. And I'm sure that little space camp cowboy, little kitty land ride stuff that he's over there watching, there's not room for promotions there. You know why? Because it's a cushy job. You know where you really get promoted really quick is in combat scenarios. You know why? Because the guy above you dies, and then there's a void to fill, and you get promoted really quickly. And then people, they don't want to stay in military combat roles because, they're dangerous, and you just get old. So it's like, would I be a scout now? 20 years, whenever I was 18, whenever I first joined, it was like, yeah, whenever I was 18, I had a lot of energy. I don't know how well you can tell, but it's like, I'm not fat. I'm in good shape. I work out, and I tell you what, I do not know if I would want to be a scout today. Whenever I exercise, it's much harder for me to go out and to run and to lift weights. And I don't know. I don't know if it's so much that I don't have the muscle and the physical build as I don't have the energy. That's like a really kind of down thing. I take some protein powder and some creatine. Creatine works pretty well. You got to use it for a while. It takes like 2 or 3 weeks before it kicks in, especially whenever I'm out there running. It's like, yeah, I feel that. It doesn't do anything insanely. It's not like caffeine or sugar where you're bouncing off of the wall and it gives you like steady energy all day, and it's really good. I recommend it. And so the episode, he's talking about the military going woke, and and he bases it off of fat blumber jelly belly, whatever his name was, and it's like, yeah, no, forget that guy. He's just smooching up to his superiors. That's all he's doing. That's all he's doing. And he was saying that that they're not supposed to be making public announcements for the military like that. And I don't know if that's true or not. It could be, because I know they're really hard on all that stuff. An example of something where they're really strict. Whenever you're in the military, your body is military property. And so this means that if you go out and you get sunburned, like at least enough where you can't perform well enough. And there were some people, because I was stationed over there in Büdingen, Germany, and so that's over there in Europe. And there were some soldiers who decided to take a vacation. They took a leave of absence there and they went to the beach, and they got so sunburned that, because I can't remember if they fell asleep or what, because it wasn't with our unit, it was with one of the other units, but it kind of circulated around because they got wrote up, and they had it was an Article 15, and that's a disciplinary measure, and it was because they damaged military property, because your body is military property, all of it, and it's like, well, yeah, it makes sense though, because it's like you have to do the PT test, and you have to perform so well on it, and if you don't, then there's disciplinary actions for that too. So you can't just go out and eat whatever you want and all this stuff. But whenever you get older, they become more relaxed about it, which is why Jelly Belly over there is just able to not have to do anything, because the standards, I don't remember if the standards are easier if you're in non-combat roles. So, and oh man, the problems with the women being, there's not a problem with women being in the military. Women were all over the place. Well, I mean, I don't know. I was a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout, and I was part of 1-1 Cav in Büdingen, Germany. And they're not there anymore. I think they were reorganized to some reconnaissance thing, and they're in Fort Hood now. But there were girls there on base with the squadron, and then women are all over though in the military in general. And it's because it's not just foot soldiers. It's, well, you have cooks and medics and dentists and mechanics and just everything, supply and support and aides, and aides to the general and to staff, and they're all over. They're there. Absolutely. It's never been an issue. The only issue is with combat roles. And I would say they have absolutely no place in combat roles whatsoever. And it's just because I know that maybe some of them they're like, well, I want to be able to fight and defend for my country. And it's like, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. That's not it. It's just, you just can't, because the body of a woman versus that of a man is not the same. So even though I might be old in my 40s, I tell you what, I can take out any single girl on the planet. I'm telling you, there's just no way. The only girl who might be able to take me down in a fight is because she is extremely fit, and she just has the knowledge to compensate for her physique. Other than that, I can guarantee there was this documentary that I saw where they had this woman where she was like the world's heavyweight boxer for women's or something like that. She had her belt with her, and she was the champ of the women's league for whatever her division was. And she was fighting some guy, or we're not fighting him, but kind of hitting him. That hit really hard, I didn't know women could hit so hard. So I could have knocked that guy out. I don't know what they were talking about. I saw later how there were people who were tearing that thing apart saying, oh yeah, why don't you go get the male equivalent? Because they were trying to say that men and women were like equal and they're not so different after all. It's like, the hell they are. Because that guy who was the male equivalent would have been able to have steamrolled everybody there, even me if I'd been there, because it's just not the same at all. And Joe Rogan talks about this stuff where how your bones are and your joints are, that it allows men to hit harder and to hit differently because it's different. So we have many different things about us. Women can see brighter colors. More men have color blindness. It's like 1 out of 10 women and like 1 out of 4 men or something like, or maybe it was 1 out of 20 women and 1 in 4 men, but it's a big difference. And men literally have thicker skin, And so whenever a woman gets just a scratch or whatever, she's likely to bleed more from it and have more of an issue from it. But with guys, it's like, nope, kind of scratch it and there's just more skin, and it's a thicker, tougher layer of skin. And that's also why they can't use the same ingredients in like women's deodorant, because their skin's more sensitive, because it's softer and it's thinner. And so men and women have different hygiene products, because women have to have these specialized ingredients in there so it doesn't make their skin break out into some kind of rash or whatever the thing may be. But there's like all of these little things that go on, and they can have babies, and no matter what happens, I will never have a uterus and I will never be able to produce eggs. That never can happen, or vice versa. A woman will never be able to have all of the inner workings of a man, period. And I tell you what, wish in one hand and crap in the other, and see which one fills up first. It's like, it's ridiculous. And so whenever women, and because women have served in combat before, the further back you go, because nobody wants to lose, nobody wants to get killed. And so women around the world have definitely fought side by side with men. And one of the things that they found out is that whenever that happens, it's the same thing that happens every time, everywhere, whenever you put men and women together. They get lovey-dovey with each other. And then the guys start doing stupid things because they're trying to protect the girl instead of doing their job, instead of performing the mission at hand or whatever it is that's going on. And it's like, no, I tell you what, we did not have women in military combat roles whenever I was in. I don't know if they are today, but I tell you what, if that was going on, I would have shot her in the leg and said, oh, medic, hey, let's get someone over here and get her out of here. Because there were definitely guys who I served with that they were smitten with the girls that were on base, and that they would have absolutely done stupid things because the guys were already stupid from the get-go. It's not like you have genius level guys running around serving in the military. There were a few that were like, yeah, there was one, for example, it was a sergeant, and he spoke like several different languages. Whenever we went to Bosnia, he learned how to speak their language in just like a month or something like that. I don't know how fluent he was, but he was talking that crap, and I was like, damn. And but the majority of them, no, they're idiots. They're just little grunts. You know, they don't know their left from their right barely sometimes. We had one guy, whenever we went through basic, he if you ever have seen that movie Full Metal Jacket, and there's that guy they're going through basic training, real big goofy guy, I forgot what his name was, and he's just not all there, you know, and he ends up killing the drill sergeant in the end of the boot camp, and then he kills himself. We had a guy like that, just about as dingy and slow or whatever, looked like him too. It was kind of weird or whatever, and he did the same thing. He was kind of screwing around, not doing what he was supposed to. We were getting smoked all the time because he was just laughing at everything and just being dumb. And so some of the rest of them decided that they were going to deal with him, and they took a cue from Full Metal Jacket. And it's like, I don't know how I felt about it. It was like, part of me was, yeah, maybe he does need it, because I tell you what, if we ever get deployed to combat somewhere, it's like, I don't want that fool beside me. And nothing is good is going to happen to him or to anyone else. That he's going to get killed, and so is everyone else. And so having that little party for him that they gave him, it changed him afterwards. And it was like, I didn't feel sorry for him, but I wasn't happy for him either. You know, so, and I don't know how many people were a part of all that stuff. I mean, I guess everyone in their bay, because we didn't have one big bay. We had like 3 big ones and then like several little small dorms, and he was over there in bay too. So I don't know, but I know he was definitely, I can't remember what squad he was in. That might have been second squad. Yeah, because I was in first, and they were behind me, because I think that's how they did it. I think one bay was first squad, and then second bay was second squad, and third bay third squad, and then the little smaller little rooms were like fourth squad. That way, long time ago. Anyways, and then women, They cannot lift as much as men. You are never going to tell me that men and women are equal, because what are you so stupid? Are you just so stupid that you think that all throughout all Olympic competitions and every single sport ever, that every single woman who's ever done this has just decided to underperform so that the men can win? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I mean, we have the Olympics today and all of this wokeness going on, and they have all these strength weight competitions and everything else that happens, and you're trying to tell me that all of these women have somehow been talked into underperforming and letting the men win? Is that what you're telling me? Since as long as the Olympics has been going on? Is that what you're saying? You're out of your mind. I'm not swallowing that lie for 1 second. You know what? You want me to buy that? Then you can show me the proof. And don't show me some transgendered person. I mean a full-blown woman. It's not there. So no, don't give me that. And you know what? Do they need to have special uniforms for being pregnant? Yes, absolutely. Women do serve in the military. There's still a ton of roles that they can go out there and do. And that doesn't mean that their personal lives have stopped. Of course, they're married, they're dating, they're doing all that other kind of stuff, you know. And so are they going to get pregnant? Duh. So do they need to have uniforms appropriate for pregnant women? Yes, you could have used Sergeant Fat Body's uniform if you wanted to. So, but yes, having special ones where, you know, it's just for their belly, you know, getting larger there. It's like, yes, what the hell's wrong with that? I don't understand why that's even a thing. And so part of the reason why women are being considered for more military roles is because it's changed. We don't have trench warfare anymore. You know how most of the combat goes today? It's with tanks, planes, and missiles that are fired from miles away. And so this military combat force on the ground, it's less and less of a thing. And whenever they do that stuff, it's more for show. Because if we really wanted to get it done, I mean, we can rain hellfire from miles away from some ships that are off the shore along the coast, or from some fire base shooting down artillery from miles away, or airstrikes or whatever. It doesn't have to be all this. And so they're doing it because, well, I don't want to say it. Fucking shits and giggles. Yeah, that's why they're doing it, because that's what's going on with the media and with politics and with the military. There's a lot of politics with it. So whenever you get to a certain rank, I think it's whenever it starts at sergeant. In order for you to get promoted up to sergeant or beyond, it takes an act of Congress to do it. And you're fighting for promotion points, and you have to go before a board, which is usually going to be a group of senior staff, which the majority of them are going to be officers. They'll be the sergeant major who will be there probably. Depends. I don't know if it's the same for officers. Maybe the sergeant major wouldn't be there. I don't know why not, though. I mean, I guess, but it's different. Officers and enlisted, they're completely different things in a very strong way. So, so it's extremely influenced by the politics that are going on in the government. And so this is just Sergeant Fat Body, or I think he was a sergeant. I don't think he was an officer. You know, that's what he's doing. He's doing this because he's looking for brownie points for the rank. You know, and I don't know, maybe he's gotten in. I would not be surprised if he did something that's wrong and he's skating around there on thin ice, and so he's trying to get some brownie points for it. Or maybe he's gunning for promotion, but he's not just doing this just because. I seriously doubt it. I would not be surprised for 1 second that there's something else behind it. So, you know, but today, you know, it's drone strikes, and it's cruise missiles, and it's submarines and aircraft carriers, and this whole crap about China being able to beat us. It's like, no, they can't. They won't. And it's because it doesn't matter what you have. It just takes like 5 nukes, and we can level so many of these huge monstrosities that they call cities over there, because their cities are based off of tiers. And so, like, you know which cities to go after because they flat out tell you these are tier 1 cities, and that's where their most rich and powerful people go. You never see combat. You never see problems with Russia and China and the US with each other. It's never with them. It's always Russia will do something in the Ukraine. China will do something with Vietnam or Korea or one of their surrounding little places, which is why North and South America have nothing to worry about because they got us. They got America. And America doesn't do that stuff. And so they're kind of left to their own devices. And Russia and China, they do not have the Navy to be able to bring all their troops over. We are the Navy kings of the sea. Look at aircraft carriers. How many aircraft carriers? So I'm going to Google that up real quick so I can tell you precisely where you at. Okay. And so I'll put this link in the description below. And so on Wikipedia, they have number of aircraft carriers by country. And so the total that the world has ever had out of all of them at any time in history is 223. So I think I said yesterday that the U.S. had like 22 in total, and so then that would have meant that there was 44, half all of that. So France has one, China has two, Canada, Austria, Argentina, 000. India has one. Japan doesn't have any. Well, that might be because of the Accords, because whenever we beat them, they weren't allowed to have a military, but I think that's kind of over with, and they're starting to build their military up. Russia has one, Spain has one, Thailand has one. Well, Thailand. Turkey, none. The United Kingdom has two. The United States has 11, and the total is 22. And so and then it also has decommissioned, under construction, and never completed. So decommissioned, the U.S. has 55 in total that are decommissioned. And the United Kingdom, wow, 41 decommissioned. Japan, 20 that are decommissioned. Yeah, that makes sense. And then France was 7. That's the next one after that. So 55 decommissioned from the U.S., and then second one was the UK with 41. Third is Japan with 20. And then it drops all the way down to 7. And then there's some 4s and 2s and then a bunch of 0s. Under construction, the US has 2 under construction. The UK has 0. Turkey has 1. And I guess that would be their first. 000. Japan has 2 under construction. Yeah, so I guess the World War II agreements, they probably have expired by now. And Italy has 1 under construction. India has 2. Yeah, so that'll bring them up to 3 if they don't decommission the one that they have. Germany 0, France 0. China has 1 under construction, so that'll give them 3. And then 000. And then never completed. U.S. had 12, never completed. UK 13, and those are probably the ones that they had that they were constructing for, a lot of them probably for World War II, and maybe a few others because of a change of the president and them deciding not to do all that stuff. And so again, the U.S. with its total on all of these, with in-service, decommissioned, under construction, all that, 80. And then second is the UK with 56. And then it drops down to third with Japan with 26 and France with 15. And then it's single digits for the rest of them. So, and it's like this with everything. With submarines and helicopters and planes and all these rockets and missiles that we have, whenever it comes to tech and equipment, we just rock everybody. So it doesn't matter how strong. China has a large ground force, which means I'm talking about they have a lot of troops. They have a lot of soldiers. What does it matter if they can't even get to the U.S. in the first place? And so I said this the other day too, is that we're the crazy ones because we're the only country in the world who's ever deployed atomic weapons. Today we have hydrogen weapons. In order to ignite a hydrogen weapon, you have to use an atom bomb to ignite it. That's how crazy it is. It's insanely more massive. And in a way, maybe it's a little bit of Texas where it's like, you know what, if we're going to go down, we're going to take you with us. And we're going to nuke. Nobody's going to push that button. And man, yeah, we also have where our cultures are just too intertwined. They make too much money off of us. We make too much money off of them. This is why doesn't smaller countries like Japan and South Korea, France, Germany, why don't they ever get attacked? Why don't they get bullied by their larger adversary countries by them, such as with Russia and with China? It's because they're making money off of them. And they like to go travel there, and they like the paparazzi and everything else that's associated with all of this stuff. They like all of that. I mean, who doesn't? Hey, here's a really good example. You can go onto Google or YouTube, and you can search for audience reactions of Tony Stark's death, and you'll find all these countries around the world where they snuck in a cell phone and they're recording the Marvel movies, the Endgame one, you know, where Tony dies, and these people cry. They're not speaking English, and they're crying whenever he dies. Because you know what? The world, in some ways, is becoming one where people are they're less willing to just go out and fight. They don't want all this stuff, and they're not stupid. Do you think that China's just dumb as dirt? Do you think that they don't understand that we have nukes and we'll use them like crazy if it really came down to it? I mean, we're the only ones in the world throughout history who's ever done that, and we used it on their next door neighbors over there on Japan. It's like, it's not going to happen. There's not one damn thing to worry about it. It's nothing but fear-mongering. So, yeah, it's a military topic. I've got a few things to say about it. I've got to stop. This video is too long, so I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Like, subscribe, donate. It would help me out a lot. And speak of which, and we'll catch you later. Thanks.